Traveling on an escalator is easy, but building the smoothest and quietest ride possible takes expertise. It starts with workers welding together the structural framework of the escalator. Like the chassis of a car, the track system and all the other components will be bolted to this frame. A worker puts together the main drive gear, which hooks up to a motor with a chain. It will pull the steps and the handrails. He puts on an emergency brake device and uses bolts to secure it in place. He attaches side frames to the gear to make what's called the transition assembly. This assembly includes a drive gear for the handrail and allows the steps to loop back at both ends of the escalator. He then lowers the completed transition assembly into the truss, the hollow structure of the escalator. With the transition assembly in place, workers then install a cone plate, the last part of the escalator a person steps on before getting onto the moving steps. A worker makes these steps using aluminium ingots. He puts them into a crucible. Then they apply a release agent to the mold used to make the steps. Spraying more lubricant on the mold ensures the aluminium stair will release properly from the die-cast machine, which automatically receives the exact amount of molten aluminium needed. A robot then takes the one-piece step from the die-cast machine and carries it to the trimming department. Here, a trim press removes some residual aluminium. The excess material goes back to the crucible to be recycled. Once the robot finishes a general trimming of the step, it sends it to the finishing department. There, finishing robots then file off the sharp edges. The robot also files in between the teeth that go across the step. Then it passes the step over a belt sander, making it smooth to the touch. Transformed from solid aluminium to a casting that is painted and assembled, the step is now ready to be installed. A worker rolls out a chain of rollers, called a step chain. He greases all the pins. Then they place all the steps into position. Workers then connect the axles on the steps to the pins in the step chain, and then lock them together using a spring clip. They feed the required length of chain and steps into the unit. A worker then attaches a turnaround track. The turnaround track allows the steps to make a continuous loop from one end of the escalator to the other. The escalator runs for 5 hours to ensure it operates quietly and properly. During this testing period, it goes through up to 250 quality control checks. After passing all the tests, workers wrap the unit in heat-shrink plastic. The escalator is now ready to load onto a flatbed truck for delivery to the customer.